What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. It is time for a pounds for purrs workout, and this first exercise you're seeing is a little bit different than what you're used to. Usually I do a hang high pull plus tall snatch. The reason why I'm going with the tall high pull is because I didn't use it in the complex, and that was a little bit of like an experiment. I just wasn't sure if I absolutely had to use it or how much it would affect maybe going into snatch by just starting off with the tall muscle snatch. But upon review, I think I'll keep the high pull as the first movement before getting to the muscle snatch, just because I think it does a good job of getting not only your height in the snatch, but also just warming up the upper back and the shoulders before you go into the actual muscle snatch itself. So before I did this workout, I spent, I believe, 3 minutes on the rower. Nothing crazy, just wanted to get the blood moving and just have a just nice little cardio warm up. 3 minutes, nothing too crazy, and then I got to the platform. So after the complex, I did that tall high pull plus tall snatch, and then now what you're seeing is the last triple for the hang snatch. And for that one, I kept it really light, just the bar itself, so 45 pounds or 22.4 kilos. And I did 3. I was actually only expecting to do 1, but it didn't feel quite right, and the second one felt a little bit better, and then the third one felt like I was comfortable enough to move on. So that's the only reason why I did 3 triples of it. I was only planning on doing 1, but I did 3 just to make sure that everything was right, and that one felt the best. So the theme of today was diagnostics. This is basically what I call a diagnostics day, a way to check form, a way to just make sure my timing and my execution are where they need to be. So I took a very gradual approach to these sets, still working with the same weights, but I slowed it down just a little bit just to make sure my timing was right, just to make sure that each phase of the snatch was feeling as good as it could. And then eventually I start to put in a little bit of power towards the latter set. So basically from here on out, you'll see little increases in performance, and that was once I just felt good about it, and that's how I basically treated the entire workout, was just diagnosing everything, just making sure everything was fine. And as a result, I feel pretty good about the workout, and I'll probably do one more day with these weights because I've spent, I think, 4 times now. So I just want to make sure that everything's locked in and ready before I start to overload. So the conditioning is still there. I went back to 90 seconds between sets, which is very comfortable. It still goes by relatively quickly, but not too long to the point where I'm taking too much time and where the workout takes longer than it really should. And then for the strength moves, I went back to just muscle cleaning the bar up before getting to those exercises. So here, before I did the clean and jerk singles, after the complex of course, I did 1 triple with hang clean plus split jerk, 65 pounds, just because the clean is already set and ready to go, but it gives me just a bit of practice with the split jerk before going into working sets. Although I'll be honest, split jerking 65 pounds feels really weird because it doesn't really feel like anything, but it's a good thing to do just to get the feet warmed up. Now for clean and jerk, very much like what I did with the snatch, just a diagnostics day, so I'm not going for high performance. I'm not trying to go for the most explosive reps that I've ever done. This is really just to make sure the timing, the coordination are both there. And then as I started going towards the latter part of the sets, then I did start to pick it up just a bit, just enough so that I can feel confident enough going forward. And I really wanted to make sure I was hitting depth on the not only the competition lifts, but also the strength moves as well. On the strength ones, it's usually not a problem, for this particular case, for the front squat. But for the Olympic lifts, I just wanted to make sure I was hitting proper depth and getting right down into the hole just like that before popping up. And that goes for both the snatch and the clean and jerk. So for the Olympic movements, not bad. not bad. They're about where they need to be, but it's so light where it can be even more difficult to troubleshoot just because it's such a light weight. You can pretty much get away with a lot of things when you're doing them like that, whereas when you work with a semblance of resistance, a decent amount of weight, you can really hone in on what's maybe going a little bit off the path, and that way you can find a good way to correct it. So for front squat and for military press, I clean the bar off the floor like I was doing before, and 90 seconds in between sets, so a relatively fast pace. And just making sure I'm hitting depth on front squats. It's 135, so a very, very, very comfortable weight, but same deal as before, just kind of making sure everything was where it needed to be, and I pretty much did that. So for front squat and military press, there's really not a whole lot to say about them other than the fact that they feel great. I like both of the movements. I am happy I'm going to the front squat this time around, whereas last time I ran this, I did a high bar back squat, which was great too. I love the high bar back squat. That's my preferred bar placement for back squatting. And I also like to go for depth on those, so I try to break parallel as much as possible when I back squat, or even when I squat in general. So for the front squat, it's just getting it nice and comfortable again. I've gotten pretty decently strong in the past when I did decide to focus on front squat, which isn't very often, and to be completely honest, probably not as often and as I should have. So anytime I would have taken a break from back squatting, I probably could and maybe even should have switched to front squats. And sometimes I would throw in front squats as an assistance movement, but I generally didn't do too many of them unless I was doing something like an Olympic program. That would be kind of the only time I would take a clean grip and do front squats, especially for overload. Now, for the military press, feeling pretty good. It's 135, easy triples. Don't really have to think about this. The bar moves very easily for me with 135, and even when I had done 165 before, it felt absolutely fine. And it should, because I really like the press, or the military press, or the strict press, however you like to call it. But I really like this lift, and for me to be able to match a lower body movement with the same weight for an upper body movement such as the press, it's a really nice thing, because I do favor this exercise over bench press. Even though I've done a lot of bench press in the past, I really, at the end of the day, I think the press is a better movement, and I think it is overall for the not only the kinetic chain but also just for your core, it's absolutely excellent. And not to mention, it does work the long head of the tricep, whereas the bench press is mostly lateral head. And that's more or less the workout. Again, there's not a whole lot to say about it other than the fact that I just really wanted to, especially considering I took the extra day off, just to make sure I was running everything correctly. So I did slow things down a bit, didn't go for the greatest of reps, but more or less making sure that everything was right before I move forward. And that's pretty much it, everybody. So hope you're doing well, and stay safe out there. And remember, adopt, don't shop.